So we have seen that yesterday how to run the application and how to debug the application in the Mule debugger view. And also we have seen that adding the MEL expressions, Mule expression languages inside the console and I mean inside the logger, and we have seen the how it displays inside the console. So now today we will see that how to read and write the message properties like inbound properties, outbound properties, variables, and session variables, flow variables. So these kind of things I will walk through you today. So uh, first we will see that how to add a outbound property and then how it will display that. So I will tell you one more thing here. There is let me pass some query parameters and see how it will display. So I'm trying to pass two query parameters. So you need to pass the query parameters like this question mark and the query parameter name and the values like a key value pair and the second query parameter and the value. So here I am passing two query parameters to the endpoint URL demo. Okay, now let's come back to AnyPoint Studio and see whether it is in debug mode or not. So now I am in debug mode only. I just want to stop it and show you. Let me stop this terminal and then you can see the debug here also. When you are doing some changes, come into the Mule design mode and do the changes, and then you don't need to run anything, it automatically start running in your console. But now I'm just again showing that how to do the debug. So Mule and then debug. Then click the console to see the output of this debug or running. So there will be a pop-up prospect to switch. You just click on the S. Then it automatically switches to the Mule design mode to the Mule debug mode if you see here. So these kind of things I have already documented each and every step and by screen wise how to do the debug and all. So if you see that the screens I have captured everything. So did you guys get the PPT or not still?
Yeah, well, actually, we didn't receive anything. Like, we are still waiting for that.
Still you didn't receive? Okay. 1 second, let me note it. Still yesterday I remind him, but still. Tell me your email ID. Hello.
Yeah, just a moment. I'm texting my mail
No.
Yeah, if you don't mind, can you check out once? Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
EEJA EEJA v602@gmail.com.
I think I have yours. You pinged last time, right? Okay, I will take it later. And once this session over, I will do this first step. Today I will send a whole PPT. So for whatever we have done, okay, so that you can complete this session. So all of you just ping your
Okay.
mail ID. So then I will capture and I will send it to you directly. So basically, if you want to read some outbound property or if you want to set some outbound property, you need to use the some property transformation and add it in your console. Uh, so to add some properties inside the outbound properties, you must need to send something from the endpoint URL. So first we are trying to see that by sending some query parameters from the endpoint URL and how that query parameters will come into our flow. So we will see these things in debugger view. So let me just run one more time in the Postman and switch back to Anypoint Studio. Now go to the Mule debugger view and then your payload is null because we are not sending any body. We are just hitting the get method. That's why the payload is null payload. And inside the flow you are setting some payload. Then once these steps run through, your payload will be updated. See this payload automatically got updated. And then if you just go to the inbound properties and if you see that HTTP query param, there are two parameters added. If you see that type equal to online, course equal to MuleSoft. So these query parameters I just sent from endpoint URL. Okay, so in your flow you can identify by seeing inbound properties query params. Now we want to read these parameters and set it into the some outbound property or variable or session properties. So I will show you how to do all these things. Now switch to the Mule design mode and add a property transformer. Here's the property transformer. You can just drag and drop here, double click, and in the properties window, just click on the set property and just give you some name here. Can give query parameter course. Now what I want to do inside the query parameter course, I want to add the query parameter, right? So inbound property value. So how to capture that value? It's like as I said, you need to use the Mule expression languages. So if you press the control space bar, it automatically show you the list of available properties. So just select the message and put the dot, then it will show you again corresponding values. Now in that, what is our parameters? What are the properties? It's inbound properties. Since we are sending through the URL, it's like inbound properties. Dot. Now you can see again a list. In that, what type of params we are sending? We are sending as a HTTP query params. Now select the HTTP query params. Okay, and then what we want to capture the course. So COURSE, the course value. So whatever the value inside the course query parameters, it will be stored into the query QP course. Okay, so we will also write one more Mule expression language here. So to see that what exactly query parameters are coming. So it's like inbound properties and then query parameters. I will just keep it like this and see what exactly is coming in my console. Now again go to your postman and hit some request, click on send and switch back to the Anypoint Studio. So inside the Anypoint Studio, you just see here. So we are creating one outbound property here. This is the property. So if you click here, the outbound property should appear once this message processor runs. So click on next and then again next. See the QP course, the value is MuleSoft. So what is the name we gave? Is the QP course, query parameter course. And then what is the value we are trying to store? The inbound properties query params course value. So what is the value inside the inbound parameters course value? It is a MuleSoft. So that value will be automatically captured into the outbound property. So and also we set something, some Mule expression language, what exactly the query parameters are coming. We want to see inside the console. So once you run this one, you can see logger. Just click next and go to your console. And if you see here, logger, parameter map course equal to MuleSoft, type equal to online. These are the two query parameters we are sending. Okay, so now you understand how to create a outbound property and how to display values inside the console and how to send an inbound properties like a query parameters through HTTP endpoint. Okay, so I already captured all the steps, each and everything to how to debug and read the inbound and outbound message properties, and you need to use the, what is your question?
It's like from file to logger and logger to file.
File to logger means?
It's similarly like that, right? Just I tried that from one file to from the source to destination.
Hmm.
Just I tried like that, but it is worked.
Yes.
Like I kept some data on source file,
Mm-hmm.
and I gave the login source like some information.
Mm-hmm.
Once I click that, the data is stored in the destination file.
Mm-hmm.
So if it is okay, like I'll share the screen and I'll show you what I did.
Yeah. So you are sending some message from one file to another file. That's what you are trying to do, right?
Just a moment.
Yes. Now you are the presenter.
Yeah, I tried like this, like just I gave some file, source file.
Have you shared? I think your screen not yet shared.
Isn't just in my screen.
Yes, now I can see. Yeah, understand that. So you're doing file to file transformation. So you're sending one message from one
Yeah, yeah.
system to the other system, like file to file transformation.
Yeah. But what the kind data like in this file, it is moving to here. But the file is not storing like it's simply like it's cut the file from here to here. It's stored from here.
Yeah, that is what you want to do, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So is it working or
Yeah, it's working. But previously, what you said is much familiar to like this, right? So that's the reason I'm asking.
sorry?
Previously, you said something which is very related to like this for the file to file.
No, we haven't done file to file transformation, right?
No,
I'm
no,
just
not file to
explaining.
file. Like much similar like that. No, what you said in the previous one.
Today class?
Yeah.
No, it's not like that. It's passing some values and storing into the query parameters, variables. Okay. So when it comes to the file to
Mm-hmm.
file
Yes.
transformation, you're directly taking a RAM file and then putting into some location. But here, what we are trying to do in the some URL, endpoint URL, you will get some query parameter values. So those values you are capturing into your flow and utilizing that and storing into some variable or as own property. So that kind of thing we are doing.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this we already have seen that how to set the logger and how to do the some manipulations on top of the message like putting into the uppercase or lower case. So yes, we have seen that. And then so this is also I just explained that how to do the setting the outbound properties and inbound properties. So now I will show you how to set a property like not property variable. Okay, so I'm taking one variable and dropping between the property and logger. Okay, this property I'm setting some pp type. So in property, what I captured it's qp course. Since I'm sending two query parameters from the URL, one I'm storing as the outbound property. I mean, this will auto once you set the property, then it will automatically show inside the outbound property. Okay, and then a variable I am trying to show you. So in this variable, I am trying to capture the message dot inbound properties dot query params, and what is my parameter name? It's a type. So this is what I want to capture. So meanwhile, I can update my logger also. So now I want to see what is the course message dot outbound properties dot qp course. So it started updating and then it will give you the result. once your application start, then go to your postman to test the application and then pass the request. Go to the Mule debugger view and then start clicking next. So you can see the QP course as a outbound property, and this is a variable, so we must see inside the variable, so it should come inside the variable. So the QP type is online. Okay, and also we updated the logger message, so inside the console we must see the outbound property value. So what is the outbound property value? It is a MuleSoft. So this is what we are trying to display. So if you just click next, I think there is something wrong here. The expression which we set. There is a plus required here. Okay. Now I am removing the breakpoint here because I already show you how to do that. Go to the postman and pass the request. Switch back to Anyone Studio and just resume your flow. So to resume the flow, you just click this button, resume F8. So now you can see that course MuleSoft. Okay. Now we will do little bit modification to the logger message. So we are displaying one value course, and that is outbound property. So what we said here, initially we are receiving two inbound properties here. One is course and second one is type. So one inbound property we are setting inside the property. So then it will automatically converted to the outbound property. And one more inbound property we are setting inside the variable. So then it will automatically store into the a flow variable. Okay. So now if you just give some plus and then colon your type. Okay. So now, so where this variable will store? It is in flow vars. So what is that Mule expression? Flow capital V. Flow vars. If you just put dot, then automatically it will show you QP type. Okay. So from where it is showing? It is showing from the variable. So whatever the variable name you gave, it automatically comes under flow vars. Okay. So this is the way of setting the flow variables. Now go to your postman and again pass the request and switch back to Mule debugger view and just resume it and go to console and see how the your logger looks like. So if you see that course MuleSoft and type online, you can give some space also here. I did not give, and also you can put in next line also. If you give the slash and it automatically comes under next line. Okay, so this is the way you need to implement. Okay, these are the flow variables and outbound properties. And we do have a session variable, right? So we want to see that how to set a session variable and how it will display. Come to the Mule design mode and select the session variable. Just drag and drop it here. and you can give some name here, some just give technology, and this you can give some hardcode value. Okay, so now your application started. I can go and pass the request. Go to the Mule debugger and then see whether your variable created or not. So your variable created with the name qp type, and the outbound property created with the name qp course. This is the outbound property, and the variable name is qp type. And what about the session property? So once you run through this, then automatically your session property also should create. Just click on the next. Then if you see the technology integration, okay, and then just click next. Go to your console and you can see that course type. Okay, now you can also add your session property value also. So to add that, again just put plus and space, and then whatever you are giving, technology, and then plus. So where this variable store, it is in session vars, not in under flow vars. So you need to type session vars dot, then it will automatically show you whatever the session variables which you have already created. Okay, so your logger is updated now. Go to Postman and then pass the request, and just resume it and see the logger. Okay.
But in the session variable, it's showing some error, right? There.
Session variable.
In the session variable, it's showing some error, like for the red mark.
No, this is the debugger, not error. It's a breakpoint.
Oh, okay.
So you need to set the breakpoint. Then only you can see in debug mode. See, if I didn't set this breakpoint, if I just go to Postman and just click send, so I can see the output immediately, right? And if you go here,
Yeah.
and if you keep some breakpoint here, and again come back and hit the request, see, it still showing that sending. Until you go and hit next, it will not come. Okay, so when you put the breakpoint, then only you can see all these Mule debugger view and inbound outbound properties. So this will help you to understand what exactly the properties are setting and how it is reading the values. So such kind of things you can see in Mule debugger view only. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So, so far, is there any doubts? So, do you guys understand how to set the property, outbound property, inbound property, and session variables, flow variables?
Yeah, I understand, but I'll try to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, by saying, yeah, I think you know that by saying it's okay, we can easily understand. Once we do that, like, we'll get some autos. I'll
Yes.
try to do, and if I get any
Just
queries, I'll
practice
ask.
it. If once you create two or three flow variables and session variables, that is, you will easily understand that. Okay.
Yeah,
Just few things only you need to learn in this case, like what is the inbound property, what is outbound property, what is a flow variable, what is session variable. These are the four things you need to understand exactly. And when it comes to the mule message, what you want to understand how the mule message is coming, like what is the payload, what are the properties we are sending, what are the attachments we are sending. So basically, when you're sending some mule message inside the flow, the structure will be like that: a payload and the properties which attach to that payload, and an attachments, if there any attachments we are receiving with that, that attachments will be seen. So this is a complete structure of your mule message. And not only here, any flow which you design, you must understand the mule message, how the structure it is. And once you receive that message, on top of the message, what type of manipulations are you can perform. So to do that, you need to understand what is exactly the property and how to set a property. So you will receive the inbound properties. So how to read that properties and how to store it into some variable or outbound properties. Okay, and what is exactly a variable? So variable is to store some value which you want to get some field value or something from the input message. You just read it and put it into some variable. So for that, you can use it as a flow variable. Not only setting the variable, once you set that variable, how to utilize inside your flow. So to use the variable, you need to use the flow vars keyword. Okay, to set the variable, this is the way. Just add one variable component and give the variable name and store whatever you want inside that variable. So once you store that inside the flow, how to use that? So to use that, you need to use the keyword flowvars dot qp type or something. Whatever the name you give, it automatically it will. So wherever you want to use the flow variable,
like it's active MQ and the postman are same or different. Active MQ
active MQ,
and the postman.
hmm,
Postman and active MQ are both are same or different.
definitely different, because active MQ is a queue. It's you can send some messages and store it, and whoever subscribers are available, they will automatically pick up, right? But Postman is a testing tool, just a simple testing tool which you want to test some web services or some RESTful services. So for this, you
Yeah, if you don't know, like come again with ActiveMQ and how it is useful for us for ActiveMQ.
ActiveMQ is a queue mechanism. So you can, I mean, multiple, what do you say, publishers can publish the messages inside that queue. Okay, so it will store all the message in the queue structure. So whoever subscribing that queue, whoever interested to read the message from that queue, they can easily subscribe and get the message from that queue. It's one storage. It is. I can say simple word. It is storage. So from that
It's
storage,
like a storage. Like previously, you said like for the Postman, it can update and like we can upload or we can view the output file. For the web browsers, we can only just view. We can't upload, right?
you
For the Google web browsers, like we have to view only. We have no chance to update the data or anything.
not update. You can send the data. If you want to send some data, you can send it as a body. Okay. For the
Okay.
ActiveMQ, it's like a folder, like how we use our file structure or FTP servers. So ActiveMQ also will behave something like that only. Until someone subscribed the message, it will not go. It will keep it into that queue. So it's a separate mechanism. ActiveMQ have the two different kind of things, queues and topics. So I will show you to integrate ActiveMQ and how to read the message from there, and how we will see that. Mostly
Yeah,
it is
yeah, okay.
completely a testing tool which you can use for test the endpoints. Okay, so the I will tell you one simple difference. ActiveMQ, you don't need this endpoint, right? If you want to send some message to this endpoint, we cannot send by using this endpoint using the ActiveMQ. Where you will set this endpoint? You cannot set it, right? So this is the Postman where you can give some endpoint and some method names and some body. So these kind of things you can do it here. Okay. So today we understand that all these things, setting a property and variable and session variables. Okay. Now let me jump into little bit how to post a message. I think to clarify your queries a little bit. So let's say this is I'm trying to post, okay, some XML message. So my message is XML. So my XML message having like this: root, ID, name, location. Now you can keep the endpoint like this, no issue. Okay. So the endpoint is demo and I'm trying to post. If you hit this, I think you will get there is no breakpoint here, right? So now if you see here, okay, let me we will remove this set payload. Okay. So inside the set payload, what we will do, we will set hash payload because we are sending the payload already. So that payload we want to store it inside the set payload. Okay, we don't want to hard code any payload. So if you just click this, so previously if you, the payload was null when we hit that method, but now the payload is having something, but it was in some unreadable format like buffer input stream. We need to convert this into proper readable format actually. So for that we need to use one component between the HTTP and the set payload. Let me resume it and you can see that something the body so if you see the output is different, right? So whatever the body we are sending, we are getting as a output because we are setting the set payload component as hash payload. So if you don't set this hash payload and if you are keeping something, you will not see that. Some test I will give you something like this. If I hit, initially it is a buffered input stream, but once I click this set payload, the payload will be changed automatically. See, the payload is test now because we are setting something inside the payload here. So the initial payload will disappear, and whatever the new payload which you are trying to set, it automatically assign. Okay, and once you resume that, the same payload will become test. But now I don't want to see this some hard coded payload. I want to see whatever the input payload I'm sending. I want to see that. So to see that, you need to use the hash payload as Mule expression language. This is the hash payload which captures the input body message. Now if you click send, you can see your message buffered input stream. Don't worry about that. This is basically inside that it store it as a buffered input stream. And if you want to exactly see that, you just use one transformation component, byte array to string or something. Then it will automatically show XML message. I will show you in next step. So your body has changed, right? Response body is different. So any doubt here?
Yeah, yeah, it's something different, like it changed.
So this is called the posting. Post some body message. Okay, so inside that you want to see that what exactly I want to put, because it is showing that buffered input stream, but I don't want to see it as a buffered input stream. Inside that I want to see exactly what message is coming. So to see that, you can use I think byte array to string something. Else you can use down to it. These all are transformations, so down to XML, byte array to string.
Like in the real time, isn't like same like what we are doing now.
Teja, can you repeat it? Your question was breaking.
Yeah, in the real time, isn't the same like what we are doing now.
In the real time?
In the real time, like what we are doing now, as of same, isn't be there like that, or having some any changes,
Yeah, it is
like in the real time
same only.
scenario 95.
Let's say I will give you one example. So we have one requirement we get we need to expose their customer system as an API or service. The way how we are giving endpoint URL here, so customer wants to see that their existing services and APIs. So for that we understand the existing system and we created a flows. So inside the flow, how we design, first we give a HTTP endpoint, and once we receive that request, we are doing some manipulations like doing transformation and storing into some location, and then hitting some database and getting the response from the database. After getting the response back from the database, we are giving to the front end system. So this is one small scenario which I am giving. Okay, and one more scenario how the real time it will be. There are three different regions are there, like APAC, EMEA, NAM regions. Okay, so their systems were in that regions. Based on that region, so you will get one insurance request like AIG insurance. You can see that. So once you get that claim insurance request, the request will come into your HTTP endpoint. Okay, on top of this HTTP listener. So once you get that XML message, so you need to read the country inside that input XML. So if the country name is related to APAC region, you need to route it to the APAC region. If the country name is related to some EMEA region, you need to route it to the EMEA region. So this is kind of a choice based routing. So we will do all these kind of scenarios in real time. So So to do that, you must understand what is the HTTP endpoints and how to read the properties inside the input XML and how to route based on the input XML value. So if you understand all these things, it will be easy to implement a scenario. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Now just click this send. So now you can see, right? Previous it was like a buffered input stream. I just used the DOM to XML, so it automatically converted that buffered input stream to the string variable or XML. Okay. So this is my input.
Yes.
XML. You
Yeah,
can
from DOM to XML. Okay.
hmm. Sometimes this DOM to XML if not works, you just try with some other transformation. As I said, there are different transformations are available, right? You can try with byte array to string or object to string. So something will work definitely for you. But mostly when it comes with after the HTTP listener, DOM to XML definitely will work. Okay, so today I explained that how to set
Yeah,
available properties, session variables, outbound properties, and how to post a message, how to post a body, and
yeah, how to post a message through XML.
yes. So not only XML, I will show you. We will see the next classes how to post JSON message, how to read the values. So as I said here, location. If I give some HYD, Hyderabad, or some Chennai or some US, depends on the location I want to route the message. Okay, let's say if I'm based on the name I want to route. Let's say if I say some Teja, so I want to send that file to Teja email ID. And if I say some Kalyan, so now I want to send it to the Kalyan. So based on the name I want to route it. So these things I want to read dynamically, right? Based on the message, input message, I want to read one property value inside the input message and I want to compare that. I need to do the comparison whether this value is matches this one, then route it to the A. If it matches to B, then route to B. If it matches to C, then route to C. So this kind of things we will see that. Okay. So
Yeah, yeah, okay.
any doubts so far you can ask me now. I can.
Till now we didn't have any doubts. Like what you're saying is, by seeing it's very easy to understand. Once we
Hmm.
go through on practical scenario, so we'll get some more doubts. Previously on yesterday, what I did like.
Yes. Yeah. Do
So
practice
yeah, I'll
and
try to do that. And if I have any queries, just I'll ask you.
yes. Do practice and
Like if you don't mind, like in the meantime, just if you don't mind, can you share the recordings what you are done?
that
So
I will do it by end of this week actually. So
by this week,
I
okay.
will
But
just anyway you will get the PPT, right? This
okay.
is enough for more.
Yeah, like in the PPT, like everything is there, like till now what you said, like for
See, everything is there step
data
by
posting.
step, and I mentioned each and every step here. See, add property transformer between set payload and logger, in the properties view, everything clearly step by step I mentioned. So you just need to follow the steps and do it. That's it.
Yeah, yeah, okay, I will try to do. Just share it once I will try to do it.
Sure, sure. I'm almost done. I will just update this session variable also, and then I will share it with you guys.